Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Zero Escape 999.
おいおい、振り出しに戻っちまったじゃねえか。いいのかよ。
Yeah, this is the spot. I was right when I left off here yesterday. I was like, this is a good spot. It'll probably put me right here.
何が？
この辺りはもう隅々まで調べただろう。こんなところに来て意味があるのかって聞いてんだ。
Of course there's a reason.
意味はある。あるに決まってるだろ。たくお前は、鋭いのか抜けてるのか、さっぱりわからないな。
あ？
これだよ、これ。
土星のカードキーと。
The elevators were back here. I think they mentioned this was for an elevator.
地球の鍵？
Oh yeah, we did see an Earth key door too, didn't we? At some point.
どういうことだ？
サンタさん、覚えてないですか？この C デッキ、大階段の裏手にエレベーターがあったでしょ？そのエレベーターの脇には土星のマークが刻まれたカードリーダーが。あとは A デッキの左側のドアにも地球のマークが記された鍵穴があったと思います。
Yeah, that's the one I remember seeing.
つまり順平くんが持っている2つの鍵を使えば
エレベーターを動かしたり A デッキのドアを開いたりできるってことか。
はい、そういうことです。
よし、わかった。そうとわかれば早速行動開始だ。二手に分かれよう。俺とヤシロは地球の方を調べるから、順平と紫は土星の方を頼む。
I don't like you two going together considering you're the ones talking about screwing everybody over, but June has to go with me, so this makes sense.
了解だ。ならこの鍵は渡しておいた方が良さそうだな。この先がどうなっているのかはわからないが、とにかくあまり深入りはせずに、ざっと10分程度調べたら戻ってこよ
う。Unless we get locked
エレベーターの
in.
うち左側の方にだけカードリーダーが取り付けられていますね。
じゃあ早速ここに土星のカードキーを滑らせてみるか。よし、起動したみたいだ。
それじゃあ次はボタンですね。下向きの逆三角形のボタンだけしかついていないんですね。
Did not know you were saying something else there, June. It sounded like you had finished your thought, but then you were getting ready to say elevator.
上階へ向かうための上向きのボタンはないのか。まあ、とりあえず押してみるか。
Don't like the looks of that.
開きましたよ、俊平くん。
I mean, I guess this is just metal plates, so you can't see outside of it, but this would probably be clear, just glass, otherwise.
はあ、開いたな。行くぞ。
Now it's just kind of oppressive.
ちょっと待ってください。
なんだよ。
まだ心の準備が。
Are you claustrophobic? Because that would make sense. You could be scared of elevators. June was probably afraid of being locked up alone with a boy. They could only go down. I mean, based off of how you've been acting with me, the top one has a good option. They could only go down is probably it.
考えてみれば、この下の階、D デッキは完全に水没してるんだよな。
Yeah. I mean, based off of how you've been acting around me, I think the top one would work too.
水没したフロアに向かうエレベーターか。そりゃ怖いよな。え？ちょっと待てよ。さっきこのエレベーター、下から登ってきたよな。
So there must be a not submerged part down there.
はい、そうですね。ボタンを押してもすぐに扉は開きませんでした。開いたのはモーターか何かの稼働音が聞こえてきてからで。
だよな。
です。
だけど、見ろよエレベーターの中。 全く濡れてないだろ。壁も床も。
言われてみると確かにそうですね。
調べてみよ
調べる？
う。ああ、こうするんだよ。よっと、こうやって片足だけ突っ込んで半身の姿勢で回数ボタンを探せば。
I see this going well.
ボタンは2つだけか。C と E だな。よし、 E の方を押すぞ。
Alright, what's E got for me? I thought you were gonna like trip and fall in and get locked in or something.
下の方からかすかに扉の開く音が。
よし、それじゃあとはまた逆三角形のボタンを押せば。やっぱり中には水滴一つ見当たらない。
Well, that's good. That just means we can just hop in it and there's no worries.
どういうことでしょう。 D デッキは水没してるのに、その下の E デッキは無事ってことですから
しいな。おそらく E デッキの一部とエレベーターのシャフトは密閉構造になってるんだろう。こんな感じで。
It's probably why it's got all these metal plates. Oh, we're just drawing. Okay.
なるほど。だからこの船は浮いていられるんですね。ちょうどフラスコを水に沈めたような形になってるから。
ああ、多分そういうことだろう。というわけだから俺はちょっと下の様子を見てくるよ。お前はここで待機を。
でも
いいから言った通りにするんだ。分かったな。
私も行きます。
おい、ちょっと待て。
Aw, jeez. Okay, well now if something happens to me, we're screwed.
しまっちまった。
つい乗っちゃいました。
お前な。
Okay, let's hope this goes well.
異常はないみたいだな。
What? Why?
大丈夫だよ。やっぱりこの辺りは水没を免れてるんだ。
Oh, you were mimicking drowning noises. I thought like I don't know. You had your face in your sleeve because you didn't want to look or something.
だって見りゃわかんだろうが、そのぐらい。
本当だ。全く浸水してませんね。
だろ？
でもこの上には
ああ、乗っかってることになるな。
Mm-hmm.
もしも天井が抜け落ちてきちゃったらどうします？
I mean, not great things.
多分死ぬ。
Yeah.
そんなあっさり言わないでくださいよ。
とにかくこの辺りを調べたらすぐに引き返そう。ヤシロとサンタはもう戻ってるかもしれないし。
わかりました。了解です。
さてと、鉄格子か。ここは抜けられそうもないな。
ですね。
逆側はどうだ？
こっちは長い直線通路になってるみたいです。
With a sixth door.
突き当たりのドアに何か書いてあるな。まさかあれは。
確かめに行きましょう。
やっぱりだ。
ナンバリングドアですね。でも二人だけではどうすることもできませんね。
戻ろう。みんなに知らせるんだ。
はい。
壁にかかってるこれ。E デッキの船内マップか。
Convenient, thank you.
念のため持っていくか。そうか。そっちは1か。
Door 1, eh?
これで俺たちは新たに6の扉と1の扉を発見したってことになるのか。
それにしても イーデッキが水没してなかったとは驚きね。
いや、いいデッキの全部が無事かどうかはわからないよ。俺たちが見たのはエレベーターの周辺だけだし。
だとしても同じよ。驚愕の事実であることに変わりはないわ。
しかも通路の先には6の扉があったんだろ。
ええ。
ってことはゼロはこうなることを全部計算に入れた上でこの船を大改造したってことになる。
とても正気の沙汰とは思えないわね。
Yeah, certainly went through a lot of work for this fun little adventure that we're all on.
そうですね。一体どれだけの時間とお金をかけたんでしょう。
おそらく天文学的な数字だろうな。
だとすると、やっぱり一宮が言っていたように、どこかの莫大な資金を持った組織による犯行と見るのが自然かな。
ええ、そうかもしれないわね。
え？
そろそろ帰らないとまずいんじゃないでしょうか。
ああ、そうだな。一宮たちが戻ってきてるかもしれないし。
1の扉なら私と紫と順平くんで開けるけどね。
あ？俺を置き去りにするつもりか？
Yup, sure am.
冗談よ。さあ行きましょう。
No. I mean, we would need somebody to go see if Ace had come back and stuff, right? That's kind of what I was thinking.
てめえら一体どこに行ってたんだ。
Sorry. Sorry.
セブン？
Uh-oh.
なんだ？何かあったのか？
あったどころの騒ぎじゃねえんだよバカ野郎。ニルスがな。ニルスが死んでたんだよ。
Ah. Okay. I honestly wasn't expecting that's what they were actually going to say because Clover just seemed like pretty sad. But I expected her to be having way, way, way worse of a time if Snake was dead. But yeah, everybody reacts differently.
あの9番の男のようなむごい姿で。
そんな嘘でしょ。
とにかく私たちも確かめに行きましょう。
ああ、そうだな。
I mean, I'm not thrilled at the idea of going to go investigate the body, but I suppose we should.
あ、違う、そっちじゃねえ。
何？3の扉じゃないのか？
ドアの間にドライバーをかませておいた。ロックはかかってねえから、そっちの数字の書かれてない方のドアから入れ。
その先は？
現場は通路の左手にあるシャワー室の中だ。そこのドアにも同じようにほうきの絵が挟み込んである。
つまりナンバリングドアを通らなくても出口の方からそのシャワー室とやらに入れるってことだな。
ああ、そうだ。
そういうことなら決まりだな。行こう。
My question is, how did Snake get in there alone? That's the surprising thing to me because, like, you wouldn't have been able to open a numbered door by yourself. Unless you, like, convinced someone else to help you open the door and then did the exact same thing the ninth man did. Where you're like, okay, you help me open the door, but then I'm just going to go in by myself. That would be weird. We already know what happens then.
このドアか。さっき通った時には開かなかったやつだな。よし。それじゃ進むぞ。
ひどい匂いね。
ああ、本当にひどいな。吐きそうだぜ。
We need the rags that the detectives put over their nose.
どこだ？どこで見るぞ。あそこか。
LR? Why'd you write LR in blood? I'm guessing that's what you did. But how, as well? I'm imagining the blood only showed up once you exploded, so...
紫、お前はここで待ってろ。いいから黙って言うことを聞くんだ。いいな。行ってくる。
一宮が言ってた通りだな。あの9番の男と同じだ。バングルの起爆送信機が作動して体内に小型爆弾が炸裂したんだろう。
ひどい。全身めちゃくちゃだ。左腕なんて骨が飛び出て。
I was wondering, I was like, so how can we actually identify it was Snake, but they're just not actually showing the corpse, basically. But there is a corpse there for them to identify and be like, yep, that's Snake. But we don't see that. They're saving us from that. Cause yeah, I was like, if you're just paste, how are we going to identify you? I mean, very dire way and rude way of putting it, but yeah, if you're just viscera on the walls, there would have been no way to identify you. But if there is a body, then
開放骨折を起こしてるな。
それよりひどいのは顔ね。
ああ、ひどいありさまだ。もはや誰だか。
okay, well there goes my identification idea. I mean, maybe there's some identifying pieces of clothing or something on it.
だけど、この服は。
Yeah, okay, there we go.
間違いないわ。ニルスね。
Okay, yeah, I didn't think they'd get away with gore like that on the DS. Just a bunch of blood.
おそらくニルスは殺されたんだろう。
Yeah, I mean, that's where your head goes, but that might be, like, maybe this was set up by Zero specifically as a way to get us to start to doubt each other. But, I don't know.
あの9番の男が死んだ時と同じような状況に追い込まれてな。やった方法は実に単純明快だ。簡単に説明することができる。
Just say, oh, hey, Snake, yeah, we'll go through the door with you. We all scan our bracelets, and then they just push Snake in, and... Yeah, I mean, that would work, I guess. But how would they keep Snake in there? I guess they go through, and then run out, like, right before the door closes, maybe. Maybe that's what they did? They all went in, acted like everything was great, and then, like, right before the door closed, they both run out, and then Snake's trapped in there alone.
まず犯人たちはニルスと共にレッドで認証を行い3の扉を開いた。で、その奥へとニルスだけをぶち込んだんだ。その9秒後、自動的に扉が閉鎖。
Okay, yeah. That checks out. That's a way to do it.
孤立したニルスになすすべはない。それでも奴は諦めなかった。無駄だとは知りながらもデッドを求めてシャワー室へと飛び込んでいった。藁にもすがる思いでな。だが掴んだ藁は所詮は藁だ。デッドで認証を行ってもバングルの起爆タイマーが停止するわけはなかった。止めるにはレッドで認証を受けた者全員がデッドに触れなければならない。
Okay, but let's see. You what'd you write on the wall? LB? Did you maybe like actually draw blood on yourself so that you could write on the wall because you didn't have anything to write with? That's all I can think of.
そしてゲートをくぐってから81秒が経過。その結果があれだ。
なるほど。だから犯人たちなんだな。ナンバリングドアを開くにはニルスを含めて3人以上は必要だ。犯人1人とニルスだけでは扉は絶対に開けない。
Yeah, it was two people working together. Okay, yeah.
そういうことだ。要するに単独犯じゃなくて複数犯ってことになる。
念のため確認しておきたい。もしも今の推理が正しいとするなら、ニルスが殺されたのはいつだろう。
全員で分かれてレッドの基盤を探してた時だろうな。
Yeah, that would be the only way that would make sense. Because I'm sure Snake could have like banged on the door and let people know it happened if we weren't all split up like that.
ニルスがいなくなってるのに気づいたのはその後のことだ。
ってことは全員のアリバイがなかったことになるよな。みんなそれぞれ自分の担当箇所に分かれて基盤を探してたわけで。
だね。つまり犯人の可能性は俺たち全員にあるってことだ。
ちょっと待ってください。二人ともどうかしてますよ。
No, don't act surprised. It could be any of us. It could even be you, June.
何度か当たり前みたいに平然と言ってますけど、それって私たちの中に犯人がいるってことでしょう。
No, we're implying that 2 or more of us is the killer.
しかも一人だけじゃない。二人以上は確実にいることになる。
よさないかセブン。こんなところで猜疑心を煽ってどうする。それこそゼロの思うツボだろ。
I mean, that is what Zero wants, but usually I feel in these types of scenarios, the person organizing the game usually doesn't have to interfere and kind of kick things off. People will usually do that on their own. I mean, at least in the media, like I'm thinking of like Danganronpa, Squid Games, like all of this stuff. Like they usually are just like, well, they're going to do that stuff on their own a lot of the times. I don't really have a need to interfere. There might be some times I'm not thinking of where they did specifically interfere to kind of make things happen. I mean, I guess in Danganronpa's instance, like yes, that was something that absolutely happened at some point. Like people were pushed to do so, but the leaders of the games themselves usually never just outright go out of their way and murder someone outside of the rules, because usually people would just do that on their own if pushed hard enough, so they don't really have to do it themselves. All this to say, I don't think Zero is the one that did it.
ゼロの思うツボ。
そうとも。これは奴の仕掛けてきたゲームなんだぞ。ゲームであるからには必ず勝者と敗者が生まれる。9の扉に入れた者が勝者、暴れた者が敗者だ。奴はその勝敗を我々に競わせようとしてるんだ。
I mean, admittedly, the one I trust the least right now, the ones I trust the least, I suppose. June gives me weird vibes. I don't know. I feel like there's something off there. I'm not saying she did it, but she's like a little suspicious at times. And then Ace specifically made this big altruistic decision to heroically sacrifice himself so that he could stay behind, and I don't know, I'm a little bit suspicious of that too. Not saying he wouldn't just do that out of the goodness of his heart, but he could have also used that to, like, I don't know, cover up evidence, various other things while that was happening. There must have been a reason for that.
つまり意図的に内部分裂を起こさせようと。
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been expecting the whole time. I'm surprised there hasn't been more of it.
そういうことだ。だからこそ我々は疑心暗鬼に陥ってはならないんだ。互いを信頼し結束を固めなければならない。
That's gonna be a little bit hard to
ゼ
do.
ロの思惑通りになってしまうからね。
ってことはニルスを殺したのも？
ああ、おそらくゼロだろう。
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't trust that it was Zero. Like, could they make it happen? Yeah. Like they control most of this, so I would assume they have some ways around it that they could do that with. But I also think, one, that's too easy of an answer, and two, it doesn't make sense from the person hosting the game's perspective.
というかだな、そもそも 奴はこのゲームの首謀者なんだぞ。我々を拉致してきたのもゼロだ。
My hand did the thing where it twitched. Ugh.
そいつがニルスを殺したと考える方が自然じゃないかね。
どうなんだろう。もしもニルスを殺したのがゼロだとするなら、ゼロはこの船の中にいることになる。
Zero still on the ship with them? Was Zero still on the ship? Honestly, I don't know if Zero is still on the ship. You could be off the ship or somewhere else. Zero's still on the ship with them. Like, you came on the, like, little intercom earlier, but that could have just been a recording. I don't think we've actually seen Zero show up, like, and talk to us. It's all just been through the little PA system or whatever. And yeah, like I said, that could easily just be a recording. So, I'm not sure?
やっぱりなんかおかしいよな。
ん？何か言ったかい？
いや、一つだけ確認しておきたいことがあるんだが。
なんだね。
ゼロってこの船の中にいるのか？
おいおい、順平君ともあろうものがどうしたんだね。
Ace is acting weird. Ace is acting weird. He's not done anything that gives me the impression that he would do something like this. Like act like this, be passive aggressive, kind of gaslight stuff. Like he hasn't given me the impression he would do this up to this point, so I don't know, still a little suspicious of you, Ace.
そんなことは当然じゃないか。
当然？なんでだ？
この船。
は？
この船という言葉をゼロは最初のアナウンスの時に三度口にしたんだよ。ゼロがここにいないのならこの船などという表現を使うはずはないだろう。
I mean, he could, for the sake of the clarity of the message, but also if he was recording that message when he was on the ship, then that would still make sense for him to say this ship. But also if he's giving directions, I don't know, saying this ship still makes sense even if it's a recording, I suppose. Like, if I was making these rules, I would not say the ship you're currently on. Or I would make, there's a 50-50 chance, I feel. I would say the ship you're currently on or this ship. You know? I don't feel like that's something I would specify in my thought process, but then again, I'm a fool, so.
どこか別の場所にいるんだったらその船というはずだ。
なるほど。確かにそれもそうだな。
Yeah. I mean, it's a point. I don't feel like it's a viable enough point to base our entire logic and completely cross that possibility off on. But you know, Zero could have just chose some interesting language.
だがだとしたら、ゼロは一体この船の中のどこにいるんだろう。
多分ゼロはこの中に。
Ah, yeah, we were doing that. I mean, I thought about that possibility, but ding. That was funny. Should I end there? Maybe I should end there. Maybe that's a good spot to save. That big reveal from Clover. I do admittedly not know how Zero could be one of... Well, no. Yeah, no, because once again, Zero has never actually appeared. It's, you know, like I said, if it was a recording, like I said, Zero could have easily just recorded that and then, you know, went off, because it's clearly using voice modulation, so that would make sense. I mean, like I said, the idea had crossed my mind of, yeah, the killer being one of us, because that's, you know, that happens a lot in these sorts of things, so. Alright. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time for some more.